The price wars are really heating up. Chery have discounted their new Omoda EV by $6,000. It now starts at $36,990. So $37,000 for an EV the size of a BYD Atto 3. Now, I don't think you can actually really say that EVs are more expensive than internal combustion engine vehicles across many segments here in the car market in Australia. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Chery nearly grew their car sales worldwide by 40% last year. Nearly 40%. They're one of the fastest growing car companies in the world. And really, they're one of the key reasons why companies like Nissan, General Motors, Volkswagen, Audi, why these companies are struggling, why their sales are declining. Companies like Chery are releasing cars that are just, insanely good value. The Chery Omoda is now the cheapest electric SUV you can buy in Australia. From the 10th of January, in other words, today, Chery are offering a $6,000 bonus for buyers of the Omoda E5. Basically a $6,000 discount. They're saying it's for a limited time, but they haven't said how limited. So to me, it looks like this just could be the new price, possibly. The price of the premium version of the Omoda is that's called the E5 EX. That now starts at a staggering $39,990. So they've significantly undercut the BYD Atto 3. The equivalent BYD Atto 3 costs $40,000, $3,000 more expensive, but it has a lot less standard features. Kind of makes the Atto 3 look a little bit expensive now. Even the cheapest new model of the Atto 3, if you compare that in price, it's $40,000, but that compares with the luxury version of the Omoda E5 EX, which has a much higher standard level of specification. Basically, the motor is like $5,000 cheaper than the equivalent BYD Atto 3. Now, technically, it's not the cheapest electric SUV. Technically, you could say the MG ZS EV is actually cheaper because it's $36,990 drive away. Americans, that's like $22,000 US dollars. Very cheap. And there's no incentives here at all. That's just the price. This is what happens when you let Chinese cars come into Australia and you don't put any taxes or penalties or anything on them. This is how cheap you can get cars. So that's drive away. That includes taxes and fees and everything else. $36,990 for the MG ZS EV. Though that is an old model. There's a new model coming out in a few months' time that is a much better vehicle than the current MG ZS EV. And that's one of the reasons why that price is so low. No matter what the case is though, the equivalent petrol cars or gasoline powered cars of the same vehicles are about the same price or slightly more expensive. So you can see now that EVs have hit parity. Chery's limited time $6,000 discount comes one day, just a single day after BYD announced it was launching a cheaper version of the BYD Atto 3, one of the best-selling cars in the world, with the reduced feature essential variant. It's got features removed from it, starting from a price of $39,990. Both versions of the Chery Omoda, though, have a lot more range than the equivalent Atto 3. BYD Atto 3 comes with a 45 kilowatt-hour battery pack for its $40,000 model. The Chery Omoda comes with a 61 kilowatt-hour battery. So you're going to get 100 kilometers more range from the Chery Omoda than you will from a BYD Atto 3. So you can see it's really compelling value. You're getting a 61 kilowatt-hour battery for $37,000. Amazing. 430 kilometers of WLTP range is what the vehicle is rated for. But here's the kind of slightly surprising thing. It has a 7-year unlimited kilometer vehicle warranty. So technically you could drive 500,000 kilometers in 7 years. You'd be warranted for all that 7 years, which is insane. The battery gets an 8-year warranty. Now, looking at the interior, one of the big advantages of the Chery vehicle versus the BYD Atto 3 is not just the fact that the battery is significantly bigger, it's also the fact that the interior is much nicer. And I drove one of these for a week. I've got to tell you, the interior is nice. This car drives really, really well. There's two things they need to improve on this and change, and they might have already done this. I don't know. The regen braking which you can't completely turn off. It's either low, medium, or high. It's a hot mess. It doesn't work very well. It's jerky, quite jerky. And the auto lane keep assist, doesn't work. It's a significant problem. Now, those are things you could potentially fix with a software update. So if Chery is listening and taking it seriously, all they've got to do is fix those two things, and this car would be a great car. But until they fix those things, I would say hold off. But, I mean, get in contact with Chery. Ask them. Say, hey, the Electric Viking, he's tested this car. He's tested lots of EVs. That's an issue. Those two things are definitely an issue. Chery know that they are, and get those things fixed. And then, they'll probably get a lot of orders as a result. Servicing. Okay, cap price servicing is available for the first 7 visits at 12-month or 20,000 kilometer intervals. Servicing costs $1,586 for 7 years. It's it's actually not too bad. The Omoda E5 gets 5-star ANCAP safety rating, and it's actually now, as of this video, that discount applies. So they're now a $6,000 discount applies as of today. At this point in time, it probably is the best value small electric SUV on the market. I personally prefer, cars like the Xpeng G6, which I've bought, or other vehicles. The Zeekr X I think is great, but they're a bit more pricey. So depending on what your basically your budget is, how much money you can bring to the table, this could be a definite option at this point. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this car is good? Is it worth the money? Let me know in the comments. Guys, I test drove the new Chery, right? The Chery Omoda electric car. And I've been kind of dreading doing this review because, well, big game. Testing the car. These are what the screens look like. So you've got your CarPlay on there, and then you've got your driver screen here. Now you can change that to a map, but I haven't worked out how to get the CarPlay map to show on this screen. Now, as you can see, it just says you have been distracted. It's saying that I'm distracted right now. If your eyes don't stay looking ahead of you, the car will tell you that you've been distracted. Now, turning around the corner, the indicator stalk, the indicator does feel a bit cheap. To be honest, the stalks feel a bit plasticky, but the handling of the car is really good. It's smooth, the stereo system sounds nice. But here's the thing. Range is going to be less than the BYD Atto 3. I'll explain why in a second. Now, other than that, charging speed is 6.6 kilowatt AC on single phase. 3-phase, it's up to 9.9 kilowatt. And here we are. We've been charging the car on solar every day. It's charging now. It's at 75% state of charge. And it's on a 7 kilowatt charger. The charger can charge at 7 kilowatt and it's charging at 5 kilowatt. So that seems to be about the average. It did get up to 6 at one point, but it seems to be staying at around 5 kilowatt on AC charging. That's using solar from my house, only solar. But the roof right now is producing about 10 to 15 kilowatt of energy. So there is enough solar to charge it at 7. I'm not sure why it's charging at 5. Car right now is sitting at 88% charge.